Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the show today is the friends you have when you're young may not be there with you when you're older. A lot of times we go to school and we get these friends, you know what I mean? And these friends, sometimes they are friends at the time that you're in school, you know. Very few friends you have that you might have in school and then you grow up and be an adult and all the way through and have friends. I had two that I grew up that were there with me that I can remember, just two. You know, and recently, me and the other one fell out. We was going back and forth with jealousy issues because he was jealous of me and all that. We were in different life patterns. But my other friend that I was with, that I have, that I've had for 54 years, he is still my friend today. He's in a convalescent home now. He's been sick, but he's been my friend. You know what I mean, all through thick and thin. So when we've had our little problems. But we were in the same lifestyle, players and hustlers. We were in the lifestyle, in the game fast life together. So we got closer in the 80s. When I came back from Seattle, I came back here. You understand me? And it was like 86 or so. About 89, really, because I went to travel and I was in Denver, Albuquerque, New Mexico. I made my rounds on the road. And then when I came back here, because he stayed in the Bay Area most of his life, so then that's when we got tight. When I came back to the Bay Area right around the time of the earthquake, just before the earthquake, I never forget, we got tight. We've been tight ever since, you understand? Close as we were close in school, you see. But the point of it is, a lot of your friends, school mates, if you're not in the same career or in the same fashion, when you leave and you leave the neighborhood, most of the time, if you're a man, you go off to the army or you go off on an adventure to pursue your career, whatever you do. You go off to college. You leave your neighborhood. You leave the nest and you leave the neighborhood. And so those friends that you have, that you were so solemnly swearing that you were going to connect with and stay tight with throughout life, 9 times out of 10, it don't happen. And you meet friends in different situations. If you move around a lot, like when I came up, I moved around a lot, so I didn't really hold on to any friends like on that level until I left and got into fast life, and that's when I got friends. But I had enough friends enough to pattern after they influenced me to be who I am, to be great. I got around certain people. There's certain people I'll never forget. When I was like 13 years old, there was this guy. We lived in a white neighborhood, and it was all white people mostly. But this guy was real, had charisma and style, and he was a ladies' man, even though he may not know it at the time. He had what it took, good looking, you know what I mean, dressed nice, and all that, and he influenced me in that area. He was like somebody I looked up to because he was a fashion guy, when I was like 13. And then other people, they influence you, but you don't take these people with you. You take the memories of the people with you. When you leave or you go on about your life and live your life, you taking you and you alone. And that's what people don't understand. The journey in life is a solo journey. It's a solo activity. You do it by yourself. You can't take your friends with you. The higher you climb, the bigger successful, the people that were down there with you, you can't take them with you. And not only that, it's like this, when you get successful and you win and you're doing good, a lot of times people want to go back to the neighborhood, drive their fancy car and impress people. You see? That's not really necessary, because all you do when you do that is you attract hate, because those people have not left the neighborhood. They still doing what they was doing when you left the neighborhood. So if you're going to go back, you go back to visit and make it briefly. Just go through there. Don't stay in the neighborhood showing off and move back there and drive a Rolls Royce around and do all that old high sign. Because they're going to kill you off or sabotage your success. The negative energy is too much. It's not going to allow you to surpass and go to the top like you were destined to do. You got to stay around winners. You got to stay around people that's encouraging you, people that are doing what you're doing. And a lot of times when you have your friends, some friends are there for a season, some friends are there for different reasons. And you got to realize that. You got to take advantage of that friend while they were there with you from the beginning to the end of the relationship. Like Sweet Roy, when I got on the fast life, he was an influencer for his dressing go. He was my first mentor on the dressing game, and I got that from him, and he was only with me for maybe a month at the time. It was only months because, like I said, a friend of mine was doing that red carpet, and he got killed, and it kind of like turned me all the way off on that whole thing because it's dangerous. You know what I mean? People, certain things are dangerous, and I wanted to live. So I got away from that, you know what I mean? Because it was dangerous. But the brief time I was friends with him, he was a real kind man. He'd sell truckloads of bunk weed and all. He was on a giant scale. He did it on a giant scale. He was a good talker, and he was a real slick dude. He was my first influence as a mentor. But then that passed. I left him. Like I said, it was only within a year that I wasn't around him no more. But that impact that he had on my mind was always there. You understand me? It was always there. I think about him a lot. And then when I got around my other influencers in the fast, like Baby Mike, Breakum John, when I got hanging around the pool hall, I was close with them. But I learned, like, Baby Mike beat me out some money. And you know what I mean? Because I learned the lesson the hard way. But it was okay, because when I once got the game, the lesson I learned, I took it, you know what I mean, like it's supposed to be taken. It's a lesson learned, and that's how you got to do some of these things. When you're young, you learn the lessons, and then you still can be cool with the people, because me and Breakum John got cool, and we was in Seattle together, and everything. So it's like, I considered him a friend in that area. Like I said, for different reasons in different areas we were friends. But we weren't close friends because I got to a point after I got older that I didn't get real close to people because the people cross you. So you got to watch it. You tip like you have less friends the older you get. And if you're a square, you have friends on a different term than somebody that was a player. Your friends you have friends on different terms. Because the player friend I got, we always got along because we know how not to cross the line. But the square friends you have, if you're a player, they cross the line all the time. They don't know the line that they cross is disrespectful, and you have to check them about it because they don't know. You know what I mean? They don't know. They don't know, and they think they can get away with things they say and things they do. And if you're a real player, real guy in the game, you're not gonna let them get away with it. So I check them, but I didn't realize that those people that you check, that you check at the time for doing what they're doing, because they didn't know better. But then again, you knew that you did what you had to do because you were living your life and trying to get along with these people. Now, when I was in my disease and I was drinking, a lot of these friends weren't really friends. I found that out because they were friends because I always had money, I always did good, I always winning. So I always buy them things, buy them this, buy them that. And, buy the drinks and this and that, or the drugs, whatever. And they there with you then. You see them, they ain't never gotten it. But it didn't bother me that they didn't have anything. If I had, I'd spend it on them. No, it was like I was paying for their company, but I didn't mind because I enjoyed their company. Like I say, it was okay when I was at that phase in life. And they were friends. I gotta say they were friends because I could depend on being there when I needed to talk to somebody, or I could hire side on a kick game and different things with different, it's an enjoyment. And so I can't regret that part of the game just because they weren't growing and they weren't going with me. Or they went on my page. They were there where I could sit and talk to them and relieve a lot of stress, Right? I could relax in that area because they were square, so they weren't going to try to cross it. Like you gotta, when you messing with players, you gotta be careful because, you know what I mean? They out to get you. When you fall, they want to pick it up. If something happened to you and you had a woman, you can't trust them. You know what I mean? Because they'll try to cross you out your bra. I had it happen. This is the reason why I know from experience. People say, why you feel like that? Man, no, I know from experience. That's why I never let nobody get close to me. And it's been like 30 years, and I never let nobody get that close to me because I've opened the door for people to be close. And like I got a friend, my best friend now, Silky. We let a guy in, tried to help him and all that, and then he crossed me, had my clothes on, and did all that. That was what he did. But that's why I said he was an associate, not a friend. But I went through that with my friend, but I didn't know when I'm not doing that no more. I'm not. You could do that. He opens the door and he be friends with a lot of people. That's him. I don't do that. I don't be close to people. Some people have a lot of friends, but they're not really their friends. They're associates. But they consider them friends. You don't know who their friends are, who their friends aren't, because they hip them to stuff. They take them places. They go to L.A. with them. I ain't going to go nowhere with nobody if it ain't mine. Close. They got to be close for me to go into it with them. I had a friend. He's not my friend like that no more. I had a friend that I hipped to a lot of things and tried to like and be there. And he crossed me, but we got to be back together, but we'll never be close no more. Because I learned the hard way. I was open, I was there, he wasn't there for me. So see, that's why you learn. But these people were friends. You enjoyed them while they were there and you had a good time. So I don't regret none of that. I don't regret it. I don't have a bit of bitterness about it. But most of the friends you have that you had when you were young, if you growing and you glowing and you doing your thing, you know what I mean? You a queen. I'm going to give my queen a shout out because she's been there for me. She's been there. We've been a perfect combination. And, I appreciate her, you understand me? And I know a lot of hate and jealousy be there because I have the perfect combination. Very few people got that. But it's okay. I know that I got to cut them people loose because I realized, you understand me, years ago, when I had a woman, I'd always have somebody. I let people with me when we would be together, and they wouldn't have nobody with them. They wouldn't have a woman with them. My rules now changed. If you don't have a woman, or if her girlfriend ain't got no man with her, we ain't going nowhere with them. It's just me and you. If it's four of them, it's her and her man, then we can all four go together. Ain't no third wheel. I don't go with no third wheel. I'm not going with the third wheel. It ain't gonna happen, because I try to get somebody to ride, drop them off, but they ain't with me. They ain't gonna be with me. That's stopping. I've done it a few times and I thought about it. No, I'm not going back to that. That third wheel thing ain't happening. If they don't have nobody with them, they're not gonna be with me and my queen, because it's just the idea, I've seen it happen before, years ago, and they stay stuck going with you everywhere you go, and they ain't never got nobody. They don't have no one. Then they're gonna be complaining. They're gonna have something negative to say. You know what I'm saying? And envy and jealousy can kick in. So if you keep those people away from you and visit them on your own by yourself, say if it's your friends, you see them on your terms. If it's my friends, I see them on my terms. That's how I do it. My queen has her friends. She see her friends. She don't have to take me with her when she go see them. They her friends. I got my friends. I see my friends when I see them, and I see them by myself. That way you ain't got no problems. You want the quality time with the friends you have, because the friends you have probably were there before your relationship. So if they were there longer, you don't cut them off. You just keep it on one-on-one. And then it lasts longer and it lasts better because you have the quality time with them. Because they rather spend time with you. They don't want to spend time with you and your mate because they were friends before the mate came. So if it's like that, that's how you do it. You see? You be with them. Like my queen, she goes and see her friend and have dinner or do whatever they do. I do the same thing with my friend. But all three of us going, no, that's her friends. I ain't trying to be friends with her friends. I say hello, I meet them, but going places with them and doing all that, no. You spend quality time with your friends, I spend quality time with my friends. If you keep it like that, it lasts and it's it's a real good friendship. Because these friends that I got now are friends I've had within the last 10 years that I've been friends with them. Because all the ones I've had, like I had one that was from 83 till it was a friend, that's no longer. Completely no good. Another friend I've known since I was 16, coming up no good, they ain't no good. Because disrespect, I'm not letting nobody disrespect me. I'm standing for my honor, and these people, they think they can get away with it and not apologize or come to me with, no, they just be gone. Because I know they're not real friends in no way. They might have been friends at the time, but as you grow and you do better and you get better, they can't go with you. So you got to let them go. You got to realize that's the cycle of life. They ran their span of being friendship. When you were leaking, they were the kind of people that when you were around, when you were doing bad, they were around, you could be with them because they were leaking. They were always leaking. When they're always leaking, then you keep those friends in a leaking state of mind. But as you grow and get better and do better, they got to stay behind. You can't keep them with you because they ain't got the money, they ain't got the finance, they ain't doing as good as you. So then you have to let them go because they're going to always complain and do all that. And then back when you was getting high or whatever you was doing at that time, you didn't mind that because you were on a different page. But when I got a second chance at a first class life, I cut a lot of all that stuff loose. And some of these people cut the drugs loose themselves, but they didn't stop the stinking thinking and the behavior. They kept the drug activity in their mind. Even though they're not getting high, they think and act the same way. If you don't grow and change your attitude toward drugs and drinking, and you act the same way, you ask for money, you beg, you're always on that same behavior pattern. You ain't growing from the behavior you had before. Then you gotta let them go because they haven't changed. They might have stopped getting high, but they haven't changed their behavior. They still thinking the same way they did before they got high. Before they got, straight. They still thinking, just thinking. So you have to leave those people alone. They go on to the top and go forward, you understand me? And try to actually, do what's right. Because you have to think about the fact that what you have to do is realize that these people are not going to be there with you. They're not going to be there with you when you get to the top. When you get to the top and you sticking to your program with discipline, obedience, being selective with the people you fool with, you're going to go somewhere. They be around anybody that listens to them. They don't discriminate or discreetly choose the people. They stay in the same position with the people that was drinking and they was around with before. They be in that same circle. They may not be getting high, but they were in that same circle. That's what I did for 10 years. And I ended up, getting back into my disease. So I know I got to be away from all that. They still do that. See, that's why I said they really stopped getting high, but they didn't change their behavior. See, it cost me my sobriety, so I know I have to change and get away from them all the way. See, because when I was at the shop, the only reason why I deal with them people really was because when I was at the chicken place, they came by, we kicked it to the picture. It was all good at the time. They was all good. Then we had a group we were in, and that was good. Everything was good until they started, being jealous and hateful and all that. And people do that. So you got to get people on your caliber. Say if you dress up every day and you look sharp. Well, there's not too many doing that now, so that's why I'm by myself. But it used to be about 10 of us, and we all stay sharp and stay on top of our game every day. And by us doing that, we were able, you understand me? We were able to keep things in order, in such an order to where we didn't have to worry. We didn't have to worry about haters and nothing like that, because it was just the 10 of us, and we weren't competing. We were just doing the best dressing, being our best dressing and taking pictures together and doing like that. They still do that in the East Coast. I noticed they do it. The East Coast, they got the kings and queens. They do it. But I'm saying it was a few here that we did it, but we didn't register it and put it online and all that. Some people probably did, but the point of it is, we were dressing, but those people are not here no more. And the few that dress don't never dress on my level. So like I said, I'm the only one in the city that dresses on this level every single day. So therefore, it's like I'm the last. People say it all the time. You're the last of the dinosaurs, And I know that. I realize I'm the last of the ones that do it. But it's okay. But like I said, friends, the older you get, the more they phase out. But that's not the point. I'm talking about the things you go through. And as you grow, if you stay on a certain level and you stay there in the comfort zone, they all gonna be there with you. They'll be there with you, boom, boom, boom. But if you're adventurous and you growing and you growing and you going, then you're gonna leave those people behind. Because most people stay where it's safe. They don't take chances. They don't be adventurous and they don't try to grow, try to be somewhere and be somebody. You know, they were hating on me way back when I had cars. I always had cars that shined. It was outstanding. You know, even when I was on the track, you know what I mean? I was an outstanding Mac. So therefore, I had haters all over the place. But it's okay because you got to stand alone. See, you got to want that. When you leading, you got to stand alone. Leaders stand alone. That's the main thing. If you a leader, you going to stand alone. You going to go and other people ain't going to go with you. Because you leading and they're not following. They're going to stop following because they ain't going to be able to keep up. Some people just follow you, but they can't keep up. They want to keep up, but they can't. You know, like I told you about the story about my father's friend that lived, you know, right next door to him and tried to get a car like him, dress like him, house like him, you know, everything, try to be like somebody else. You don't do that. You be your own best self. Don't never follow no one else verbatimly. You get ideas from these people. Like I said, I got friends along the way that I got things from. All these friends. Brigham John was building his jewelry up. And that's all he did. I got that from him. He was sharp. We put the splits in the band. I put the splits in my band. It was about 3 of us that was doing that for 3 I know of. We went to the tailor and had the splits in the bands. You understand me? Oh, it was tough. We did that, you understand? And hey, man, you know, that was our thing. We was young. We were superficial, futuristic people, man. At the time, we were young, but we were on top of our game, man. On top of our game. Brigham John was one of the best. And when it comes to dressing and looking good, he had a style of his own, but I copied that, the pants thing. Me and Baby Mike, we were all like this, like 3 amigos. See, I've had my segments that I was with different people that were my friends at the time. Even though we might have been in the street, we were street friends, or we might have been in different situations. But we outgrew, because when I seen Baby Mike in Vegas, the last time I seen him, man, he was tore up. He wasn't dressing like he was on dope. He wasn't nothing like, man, the dude I knew. And I was together, man. I had my stuff together. I was sharp. I was looking my part, playing my role. Man, I seen him looking. So see, a lot of times people don't keep up. Things sidetrack them. But you got to keep going. You got to keep going and doing, being the best you can be by yourself. If they want to keep up with you, or you see them, do that. Give them a word of encouragement. Inspire them. But don't expect them to be with you throughout your thing. People will back up and pick somebody up and try to carry them along with them. And you know what? You can't do that. If they can't keep up, you got to let them go, because that'll hold you back and mess your whole life up behind a friend that's hating on you because he can't keep up with you, but your vision and your inspiration and your pattern is going. And then the first thing they're going to do is say, oh, he ain't no good. When you leave them and grow and be on top, they going to resent you for that. But you got to be the best you can be. That's when you leave them. That's when you got to cut the string. Man, I'm through with you. You understand? Because you can't keep up whatever, and I've been helping you. And then you can't help yourself. No, you let them go. You let them go. Because they're holding you back. They're stealing your energy. You give them knowledge, and they're not using the knowledge and the intelligence because they don't want to go. They're scared, or they have excuses. It's always an excuse. You know, I'm taking care of this. I'm doing that. I've seen so many friends of mine do that, and I had to leave them, but I'll come back and get them later. You know, you'll come back later and visit them or see them, but they still resent you. They mad because they couldn't go with you. You know, and that happens, man. But you got to realize you come back and visit and see them, but don't expect it to be the same. Because they got resentment and envy. Because, you know, they stuck in the town or wherever they was at, and they didn't take that adventurous chance. They didn't do what you did. But they don't realize, you understand me, what you went through. You might have slept on the bus. You had some hard times in between the good times, but you stuck it out. You didn't run back home like they did and go to a safe haven. You went out there and was adventurous and stayed on your own and stayed strong. And that made you strong, see? So that's why they can't be mad at you, because you did what you're supposed to do. Because you had a dream and you followed it. and you accomplished what you went out there to get. So when you come back with these successful stories, war stories and successful stories that they don't have because they didn't understand, but they listen to you. You understand? You on vacation kind of like you chilling right now, but you finna go back out and do your thing. But while you there with them, because you got game and knowledge and you know where you're going and you know where you living like. You just there visiting them. They resent you. They talking about you after you buy them a drink and get them high and do what you do and all that. After you leave, they talking about you, but it's okay. It's okay because they didn't get you stuck there with them. See, their purpose was to try to get you stuck there with them. They wanted you to stay with them. See, if they could get you stuck there with them, then they would accomplish their goal, but they didn't because you didn't let them. You understand? You had enough sense. You had enough smarts, you see, to be adventurous enough to go out on your own with a strong inspiration. Because it's hard to get out there by yourself and do your thing. Because you don't have nobody cheering you on. A lot of times people stay around people for cheerleaders. When you let the cheerleaders go and you go and do your thing, and then when you win and you come back, and then you can visit the cheerleaders. But don't stay around the cheerleaders because the cheerleaders will cheer and also they will tear you down when they can't go with you. They will start talking negative about the town or the places you're going or what you're trying to do. They'll try to, discourage you. But you don't want that discouragement. You're going to be strong. So the friends you have that you had when you were in school and different places, a lot of them they're not going nowhere. You'll come back like family, school reunions, and you'll see what they had and what they did. Some of them may never left the town they was in. You look at your life and then you say, wow, you did all this and you did all that. And you look at them and they might have got married, they might have had children, and they might have had a job. But that's nothing compared to what you did, the memories and the adventures and the leadership that you took when you went out there in the game, fast life, Even though you might have went to jail for a year or two. They in jail the whole time because they ain't went nowhere and done nothing. That square thing could be a jailhouse if you haven't really went out there and lived life. And you know what I mean? Then you resent somebody else that did. And then they come back around and then they get the best of both lives because at the end of the game, they come back and square up, you understand me, and get a second chance at a first class life. So therefore they live in their best life. And then you resent them because they did it like that and got away with it. And how many people can do that? A lot of people can't say that because it's not something easy to do. So when you do it, you congratulate yourself because the other people may not congratulate you. But all I got to say is the friends that don't go with you, that don't grow with you, don't worry about them, you understand? Because you look at yourself and be thankful and grateful that you're here and that you got a beautiful queen and that you're living the best life, that you're traveling and you're going places and you're doing the things and you're having things your way and you're able to be healthy, you understand me, and living a good life. If you do that, you're thankful and grateful and you're blessed. And that's how I feel. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to end my show, and this is International Red, you understand me? The great, magnanimous fashion experience. The real fashion experience, not the mini, the straight up and down. The real fashion experience. Believe that.